Grant Fuhr is the color analyst for the Firebirds, one of the greatest goalies to ever play. Hall of Fame, 5-time Stanley Cup winner. Over the weekend, a select group saw the documentary about his career, The Making of Coco, at the Mary Pickford Theater. Well, Grant, we appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks for doing this.
No, it's my pleasure.
All right, so I saw the movie, The Making of Coco. It was very honest. I thought very detailed. How do you think it came out?
You know what? I think it came out pretty good. I mean, I think the whole thing is, if you're going to tell the story, you got to tell the good, the bad, the ugly, kind of cover everything. And I thought that they did a really good job of that.
You know, the one thing I noticed, and I think anyone that is highly successful in anything goes through this, because you were so focused on your craft and hockey and your love of the game, you could make the argument that that might have cost you your first marriage. Would you agree?
No, most definitely. I mean, at that time, I was a very one-dimensional guy, where hockey was kind of my life, and to want to be the best meant that was 100% of my focus. And yeah, it was hard on the family life. It was, but it was good for the sports life. So you sacrifice one for the other.
Okay, and when you look back on that, because successful people have to deal with that all the time, any regrets there?
You know what? Yeah, it could have been I just played because I love playing the game. I think that was the biggest thing, is that I enjoyed playing the game. I love being at the rink every day. I mean, I'm old now, and I still love being at the rink every day. So you deal with it in different ways. Do I make some bad choices? Yeah, I made some bad choices, but at the same time, I made a lot of good choices too. So you know what? For loving the game, being around the rink and wanting to be around the rink, that side of it was pretty good.
All right, so you had Gretzky, so you're in pretty good shape. But when someone is breaking in on you from any other team in the league, who's the one guy you didn't want to see?
Oh, Al McInnes wasn't allowed.
And how beat up do you get playing goalie?
Well, I've got 2 metal knees, a metal shoulder. I've had more than my share of bruises, so you managed to get beat up a little bit. I mean, the equipment's a little bit better now and a little easier on your body, but at the same time, the guys still get run into. You still get banged up. It's just part of the game.
You know, I always think that playing goalie, you have to be somewhat nuts, because someone is firing something at you 100 miles an hour, and as a guy that played the position, is it safe to say half the time you couldn't even see where it was coming from?
Well, you can see and you can anticipate. So sometimes you might get clipped a little bit because you can't see it, but at the same time, forwards don't want to get hit with a puck, so you can anticipate where it's going by the way they're moving. They'll always get out of the way.
You talked about some bad choices. Okay, and you spoke of it in the movie, so certainly I think we can address it here. You had a bout with drug use. And how did that get started?
You know what? Part of it was my father had gotten sick. Part of it was you're in the 80s, and it was around all the time. You're successful, so it was always right there in front of you. And I made some bad choices. I mean, I think that's the bottom line, is I made some bad choices, but at the same time, you live and learn. And sometimes you learn the hard way, and that's ended up how I ended up learning. Was I made the mistakes, paid a price for it, and had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, I think we've all made those types of mistakes in the 80s. But your penalty was so severe, the NHL really didn't know what to do, so they just immediately suspended you for a year. Now, they cut it down to half a season. But when they told you you are suspended for a year, and by the way, you were the one that admitted this. They didn't come and catch you. You admitted it. When they told you you were suspended for a year, what did you think?
You know what? It kind of sucked the life out of me a little bit. But looking back on it now, there's a positive to it. They ended up coming up with a drug plan where they actually try to help the players now. Yeah. So if it turns into a positive, then it's worthwhile. But at the same time, at that time, it wasn't very much fun, and it probably made things a lot tougher than it needed to be at that time.
Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. I love seeing you out at the games.
It's my pleasure, Fred, and we'll see you again soon.
You got it, Grant. Thanks. Okay, we're back with the final check of the headlines after this.